Hello once again, watchers of good TV. My name is Nick Pell, and this is once again coming from my white room. Now, if you have been subscribed to my channel for at least a year, you'll remember at about this time last year I did a top 10 books of 2013 video, and now the channel has expanded to 4 different genres of entertainment. I am doing one for all 4 of them, and this is the one for TV shows. Now, if you know me, I watch a lot of TV, so in May you're going to get a lot of videos with season reviews, but I had to narrow it down to 10, and even figuring out how to order that top 10 was a struggle for me, because there are a lot of good shows on this list and a few that I had to leave out. Some honorable mentions that I wanted to say really quick were New Girl, Castle, How I Met Your Mother, Big Bang Theory, and Orange is the New Black. All these shows are really good, and shows that I watch regularly. But the next 10 were shows that I simply found time in my day to watch, no matter how busy I was. So yeah, so with that, let's get started. Now, number 10 on the list is a show that I have been watching for a while now, and it's one that I started doing episode reviews of earlier this year, and that is The Walking Dead. Now, this includes Season 3, so the second half of Season 3 and the first half of Season 4. I thought that they did this brilliantly. They had the governor as a main bad guy, and in the comics he's a huge bad guy, and we got to really see that follow through in the second half of Season 3. And even though Season 3 ended on a very anticlimactic note, Season 4 was just great. They ended the governor's reign as it did in the comics, and did it immense justice. The flu epidemic was a little touch and go, but it worked, and we got to see episodes focusing on the governor as a character and almost sympathize with him in some aspects. So The Walking Dead is continually amazing me with how good it is, and I look forward to seeing what they can offer in the next few years, especially since they're getting kind of close to where the comics are, and they're going to be very rapidly catching up to it. So we'll see what happens with that. But The Walking Dead is for sure my number 10 choice. My number 9 choice on this list is a Nickelodeon show, which I have grown very fond of recently, and that is The Legend of Korra. This is the second season of Legend of Korra, and is Season 2 Spirits. I will probably try to push out a review for this at some point. I don't know when, but I want to do a joint review because 2 of my roommates watch the show as well, and we just haven't found the time to sit down and review it yet. But Season 2 was really good and really impressive because it touched on a subject which was just dealt with here and there in the original Avatar show, and even in the first season of Korra. It was just kind of talked about here and there. But this show dived right into the idea of spirits and the spirit world, and we saw this huge battle with the water tribes, and we saw a lot of cool bending. We saw spirit bending, and it had a very maniacal villain. We got to see the origins of Wan, who was the first Avatar, and seeing how this whole thing started. And it had some really good episodes, especially those 2 with Wan were really great. And then the finale, like the last 4 episodes of the show, were really memorable and really good at setting up essentially how the series is going to go for at least the next 2 seasons. And yeah, definitely Legend of Korra Season 2 is indeed my number 9 choice. Number 8 choice is a show that I have recently started watching. I got all the way caught up with it in the summer, and I'm watching it as it airs now, and that is Revenge. This is an ABC show which has been on for 3 seasons now. They're on the 3rd season, and it just continues to get more and more intense and better. This is more dealing with Season 3, but partly with Season 2. The second half of Season 2 revolves around Conrad becoming governor of the state that the show takes place in, and Jack and his brother, and just this whole wide range of things that ended very climatically and very saddeningly. for Jack, and season 3 kind of carries that forward. We have Emily Thorne just continually trying to take revenge. The show opened with its season 3 premiere with her getting shot, and it's essentially the last scene of the mid-season finale of Revenge. And the third season is just really, really good so far. It has a few slow episodes here and there, but it's all leading up to this huge escalation of things. And you know it's got to go wrong because they want to keep the show going. So it's going to be a while before Emily Thorne gets her revenge in full. But yeah, the show is just really, really good, really interesting. And it's a show that I've seen on TV for a while, just like bits and pieces. And now that I've seen the full thing, it's definitely a worthy contender for my number 8 choice. Number 7 is probably in a lower spot than you would probably expect it to be, and that is Doctor Who. And the reason for this is essentially because the second half of the 7th season was a little touch and go for the most part. The first episode, The Bells of St. John, was pretty good because it introduced Clara and all this type of stuff. And then the episodes were just kind of touch and go for a little bit. Sometimes they seemed a little goofy, or too goofy for the show. There were some that were really exciting, like the Cybermen episode towards the end of season 7. The Rings of Akaton or whatever it was, where he does that speech, the big sun god thing. Those were good, and then obviously the Name of the Doctor, the season 7 finale, that was good as well. But there were some episodes which were just not that impressive to me. I don't count the Day of the Doctor or the Time of the Doctor as part of season 7, which were both great. The episodes that aired in 2013 for season 7 weren't as good as they could have been and weren't as good as they have been in past years. So that's why this is at number 7. It's definitely still in my top 10, but that's where it is lying at this point. So yeah, Doctor Who, my number 7 choice. My number 6 choice is another show that I've recently started getting into just about a year ago, and that is Once Upon a Time. This is a show that a friend turned me on to, and I got hooked onto it ever since. I'm going to be mainly touching on season 3 right now, because that is the part that's most clear in my head, and that deals with Neverland. And I thought they did this brilliantly, so far at least. We see Pan as this villain instead of this heroic good guy like the Disney movie has portrayed him as. He's this villain, and we have Captain Hook as a good guy. We have Emma Swan, Snow White, Prince Charming. We have Rumpelstiltskin. We have Tinkerbell. We have all these other people. We have Ariel finally. We have just a plethora of characters. So I've been in like fairy tales and Disney movies and all this type of stuff, all mingling together and striving to save Henry. And it was just really, really well done. I really enjoyed it. And the finale for the episode, which I won't spoil here, or the finale for the mid-season finale, really, really good. Could have easily been a series finale if they really wanted it to be. But yeah, it definitely got me excited for the second half of season 3, and I'll be watching it adamantly once it airs. So, Once Upon a Time, my number 6 choice. Now this is the top 5, and these are all shows that are brilliant, and I think most of them have Emmy nominations and Oscar nominations probably in the future, and they're just great shows. And so we started off with a Netflix original series called House of Cards. I did not do a review for this one because I watched it right before I left for Turkey. It's a brilliant show. You have to be, I think, the right kind of person and be into the right type of things to watch this show, because my mom and my brother tried to watch it and they essentially fell asleep right in the middle of the episode. So it's a very dramatic show, and it's not very action-packed, but it's very exciting, and you don't really know what's going to happen or how Kevin Spacey's character is going to do his whole plot and scheming, and it's a very, very interesting show, and I'm highly looking forward to the second season on February 14th. It's definitely a show which has made Netflix stand out in the TV population as a legitimate source of television. So yeah, House of Cards, my number 5 choice. My number 4 choice is a show which just had its first season this year in September, and it has just been going fast and forward for up till its mid-season finale, and that is The Blacklist. This is a show which I got really, really intrigued with when I saw the trailer for it, and oh my gosh, just such a wild ride. There's conspiracy, there's violence, which isn't as common as you would think on a regular big time network show or channel. It's just got a very interesting story, very interesting characters. We have Elizabeth Keene, who is this FBI or CIA, I don't remember which one, but she's a person who essentially can read somebody and tell stuff about them. She is brought in by the whatever organization she works for, and it's because we have Raymond Reddington, who is this one of the number one most wanted criminals in the world, and he turns himself in, and he essentially gives the CIA, I think, this blacklist, which has the names of all these criminals who they don't even know about and who are committing crimes around the world, and he works with them to try to stop them. And we don't know his agenda, we don't know anything. He puts her husband under suspicion, and it's just a very, very gripping show, and it had a great season finale, or mid-season finale. It's been extended for a full season too, so come January, I'm going to be very excited, and so The Blacklist is definitely worthy of my number 4 spot. My number 3 choice is a show which I have been really, really into since I first started watching it, and that is Game of Thrones. This is it's such a good show. It follows the Song of Ice and Fire series by George R. R. Martin. I reviewed the whole series on this channel, so look for those videos if you wish. This season that they've done with season 3, it was just done brilliantly. We saw the Red Wedding finally. It deals with the first half of Storm of Swords, and it's just so good. And each episode is just very well done. You can tell that the team puts a huge amount of effort into making the show as best as it possibly can be, and they succeed on all levels. It's got the drama, it's got the romance, it's got the sexuality, it's got all these great characters and these great actors portraying these characters, and it's just definitely a show which will be remembered for ages once it finally ends. And yeah, Game of Thrones is a show that I'm definitely looking forward to the 4th season of coming this year. So yeah, definitely worthy of my number 3 spot. Now these last 2 are shows which are brilliant and great and drama-filled, and shows that I will be watching until they end, and one of them has already. But number 2 is Scandal. This is another show that I started watching over the summer, and I got caught up, and I am continuing with season 3. So this show is about a fixer in Washington, D.C. named Olivia Pope, and she has huge history with the President of the United States and a lot of things with the White House and his Chief of Staff, Cyrus Bean. And the show is just very interesting because it keeps the show very compelling with a new plot. I had a slight issue with season 2 in that they had a plot that went about 2/3 of the way into the show, and then they broke into something completely new in the last third of the season, but they continue that plot into this one. And this focuses a lot on Olivia's personal life with her family. We see her father as the director of this huge organization which has essentially the highest influence of power in the country, even over the President of the United States. It deals with her mother as well, and seeing the history of her death and just everything that led up to it. And it's just a very, very good show. It's very intense. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. You never know what's going to happen next. And it's definitely a show that I have gotten really into and really happy about watching every week. And it's a show that I definitely find time to watch as soon as I possibly can. So, Scandal is definitely my number 2 choice. And now we have my number one choice, which is a show which has been on for 5 seasons and it ended just this year. I don't remember exactly when, but it was, I think it was the end of September or early October that ended. But this is Breaking Bad. This show had its final season this year. It ended with a bang. It ended while it was on a high note, which I think was the most admirable thing that a really good show can do. Vince Gilligan, he told the story that he wanted to tell of Walter White, who is a chemistry teacher turned drug kingpin, and just seeing the rise and fall of these different people and the loss of humanity, and just a huge ensemble of characters who have become huge stars in their own right. Bryan Cranston got a huge popularity boost. Aaron Paul was probably unheard of before the show. And then just a bunch of these different characters. I got hooked onto the first 3 seasons of the show my freshman year of college, and it just drew me in. I got really addicted to it, and it's just one of those shows that you can't stop watching once you started it. And this show will be remembered as one of the great dramas of our generation, possibly the last great drama on regular TV. So, Breaking Bad, definitely my number one TV show of 2013, and is one that will be remembered for years to come. That is my top 10 TV shows of 2013 list. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what shows you think should have been on here. Most of them I probably haven't watched if you are suggesting them, but it'll give me things to watch for next year, and maybe they'll be on next year's list. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe if you so choose. I'd appreciate it immensely. Check out all my top 10 videos up here. The video game one will show up in 2014 sometime, but the books and movies one should already be up there. So click those and check out my thoughts on those. As always, my good people, my name is Pell, and once again, keep on watching.